Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Wehry History and Entertainment News of the Berkshires and beyond. There is much going on in Berkshire County, from film festivals to art exhibits. Additionally, many places have started their spring events. On this episode, I'll be discussing all these things, plus two very special sports stories. First, it's time for this episode's trivia question. This episode's question is: when was Hancock Shaker Village's famed brick dwelling building built? Now, for this episode's local headlines. First, we will be visiting Williams College Museum of Art, where they will be co-hosting an event with Mass MOCA called Belly of a Glacier. First, some background of this exhibit. In 2019, Iceland constructed the first memorial to mark the death of its Okjøkull Glacier. My apologies for any mispronunciation. Since then, funerals have been held around the world to mark the melting of glacier bodies. These rituals of collective grief amplify the current state of climate emergency, while expressing the intimate entanglement of human and environmental well-being. As for the exhibit itself, consisting of an experimental documentary film and a photographic installation, Johan Breding's Belly of a Glacier connects this act of mourning to ongoing practices of preservation that strive to protect the ice, a material that contains both remnants of the past and the conditions of a future world. Johan Breding is a Swiss-American artist, raised in a Swiss village and living between Brooklyn, New York, and right here in Williamstown. They work with photography, photographic and filmic archives, and video in a collaborative practice that reinterprets historical events, putting the past into a meaningful, transformative relation with the present. This is displaying at Mass MOCA from now until December 2025. Visit the website of WCMA at artmuseum.williams.edu or the website of Mass MOCA at massmoca.org for more information. April is National Earth Month, and Images Cinema in Williamstown is highlighting films regarding the Earth Month Film Festival. The highlight of this festival is Flow. This animated film came out last year and won the Best Animated Feature at the most recent Academy Awards, beating out heavy favorites Inside Out 2 and The Wild Robot, both of which I loved, so this movie must be special. A wondrous journey through realms natural and mystical, Flow follows a courageous cat after his home is devastated by a great flood. Teaming up with a capybara, a lemur, a bird, and a dog to navigate a boat in search of dry land, they must rely on trust, courage, and wits to survive the perils of a newly aquatic planet. The entire film, which was made in Latvia, is done without dialogue or subtitles for the animal noises. This film is left open to the audience's interpretation. This will be just one of the big movies of the festival, which will be held throughout the month of April. For more information on the festival, visit the website shown here. Our next story takes us to Hancock Shaker Village, where the much anticipated baby animals have arrived. According to the Hancock Shaker Village's website, quote, "Welcome the arrival of spring with our Baby Animals Festival. Meet our newest farm babies. Lambs, piglets, calves, chicks, and kids, goats that is, and enjoy activities throughout the village, from daily talks about the farm and the Shakers, to craft demonstrations, to walks along the farm and forest trail. To allow enough time for your visit, please arrive at the village between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. End quote. For more information, visit the website shown here. Hancock Shaker Village also provides the answer to this episode's trivia question. As a reminder, this episode's question was, when was the Hancock Shaker Village's famed brick dwelling building built? The answer is 1830. Like the famed barn, shows the Shakers' prosperity, as well as their appreciation of the benefits of space, ventilation, and labor-saving modern conveniences, such as water-piped indoors. The dwelling was a good advertisement for the creature comforts the society provided to its members. Today, the visitors to the Hancock Shaker Village can experience authentic Shaker meals in the dining room in the brick dwelling. Though guests are no longer required to separate by gender while they eat, like the Shakers did, the event maintains its authenticity with its use of sermons, songs, hymns, and reliance on natural and candlelight. For our next story, we are going to be visiting Pittsfield for a great story of baking for a cause. The National Alliance of Mental Illness, Berkshire chapter, will be hosting the 9th annual Cupcake Wars fundraiser, featuring some of the best bakers in Berkshire County. The Cupcake Wars fundraiser allows guests to sample some sweet treats. And all proceeds will go to the National Alliance of Mental Health, Berkshire County chapter. This is a great way to enjoy cupcakes while also feeling generous. This will take place on April 24th. It will be held from 5 to 8:30 p.m. at the Country Club of Pittsfield, located on 639 South Street. For more information, visit namicb.org. Our next story is a very important news piece. Those living in Pittsfield may have noticed some of the local parks have been needing some massive, tender love and care. Some long-awaited improvements could be coming to these parks. James McGrath, the city's Park, Open Space, and Natural Resource Program Manager, outlined the progress and next steps of some of the city's notable projects at a recent meeting of the Parks Commission. Here is a list of some of the parks that will be repaired. First is the Pontoussac Lake Project. Work on the Pontoussac Lake Park project has begun in full, with construction crews beginning work earlier in April. After years of planning, Pontoussac Lake Park will see a nearly full redesign, focusing on shoreline improvements, restoring the wetlands, improving accessibility, and adding pedestrian features that focus on the lake's natural vistas. The first phase of work will focus on improvements to the south side, including better handicap accessibility, a new paved promenade walkway that will connect the park to a nearby pier, repairs to the upper parking lot, new benches and picnic tables, and ecological improvements. Up next is Wahconah Park, which I've mentioned several times in the past. Note that the Pittsfield Suns, because of this, will not be playing at Wahconah Park in 2025. The design phase of the Wahconah Park project is officially completed. Now, the city is on to the construction document phase, which McGrath hopes to have completed in June. The city received a recently performed cost estimate. With the construction of grandstand and improvements to the site expected to cost $25 million on top of $5 million for soft costs, including all design and permitting and architecture work and construction contingency. About $20 million is already secured from the city, but full financing still needs to be finalized. The last Pittsfield Park on the list for this episode is renovations at Springside Park House. Now that the exterior of the historic house at Springside Park is complete, McGrath is working with architects from Great Barrington to develop plans for the first phase of the interior restoration and renovation. Phase 1 will work on critical foundation work, including installing a full fire suppression system with a new water line, adding an elevator for handicap accessibility, and upgrading electrical services as needed for the elevator. Phase 2 would then be outfitting the rest of the spaces with doors and floors, and trim, paint, and carpeting. WWHEN would like to thank the Berkshire Eagle for supplying information on this story. More park construction could still be coming. Stay tuned to WWHEN for more information. It's now time to discuss a popular event that I actually haven't covered yet on WWHEN. The Pittsfield Jazz Festival. The festival spans 10 days and 2 weekends each April, which is Jazz Appreciation Month. Sometimes, like this year, it runs until May as well. Here is the full schedule. On April 24th will be open jazz sessions from 7:30 to 10 p.m. located at the Dottie's Coffee Lounge. Dottie's Coffee Lounge, by the way, is going to be a major player in the Pittsfield Jazz Festival. Then on April 25th will be the Jazz Crawl. The Jazz Crawl, or as this year it's called, Jazz About Town, features local musicians in restaurants across the city in advance of the festival's weekend headline concerts. This will take place from 5 to 11 p.m. On April 26th, musician Ben Cohn will be performing from 7:30 to 10 at Wander Berkshire's, located on 34 Depot Street. Then, on April 27th, a jazz brunch will be held at Dottie's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. On April 30th, the Pittsfield Library will be hosting a Jazz Prodigy concert in their auditorium starting at 7 p.m. Then, Barrington Stage Company will host Dawning Homes at 7:30 on May 2nd. The next day, May 3rd, the Colonial Theater will host the legendary Count Basie Orchestra. Finally, Dottie's Coffee Lounge will host another coffee brunch on May 4th to close out the festival. Some events, such as all coffee brunches, will be free to the public. Others will require ticket purchases. For more information, visit berkshirejazz.org. For our next two stories, we are going to be focusing on local sporting events. First, a local Berkshire County High School graduate has been making waves in the collegiate track and field scene. Ariana Garcia, a 2022 graduate of Wacona High School in Dalton, won the NCAA Division III 60-meter indoor hurdles with a time of 8.35 seconds. Garcia, who competes for the University of Massachusetts Boston Beacons, won the championship in a record-setting time. This was just the peak of her excellent career with the Beacons. She is a three-time All-Little East Conference, or LEC, honoree, the LEC Runner of the Year, and has broken 7 school records. This past indoor season, she was named LEC Track Athlete of the Year 7 times. Before this season, Garcia was an All-American in the 100-meter outdoor hurdles in 2023 and has broken the majority of hurdles records for UMass Boston. Garcia has done all of this while maintaining a 4.0 GPA, double majoring in criminology and business. WWHEN congratulates Garcia on her success and wishes her luck on the rest of her track career. Our other sports story for this episode is very special. The annual Basketball Hall of Fame announcement. The Basketball Hall of Fame, which is located in Springfield, has announced their 2025 class. Before getting into the inductees, here are some interesting facts about the class. First, there was an important change made this year for eligibility requirements. The waiting period for retired players, both men and women, was changed from 3 full seasons out of the league to 2. This year's class is smaller than classes in the past, with 9 members getting inducted. However, the change in eligibility requirements meant more people made it to the Hall of Fame on their first attempt. In fact, only one member of the 2025 class was not on what is called the first ballot. Here is this year's class. All Hall of Famers are listed in alphabetical order, as no Hall of Famer is more important than another. The 2008 U.S. Olympic men's basketball team, who won possibly the most important gold medal in U.S. basketball history. They were also the only inductee not on the first ballot. Carmelo Anthony, a 10-time NBA All-Star who scored over 28,000 points and won 3 Olympic gold medals. Mickey Arison, a co-owner of the Miami Heat, who has led them to 3 NBA championships under his watch. Sue Bird, currently the WNBA leader in assists, wins, and games played, while leading the Seattle Storm to 4 championships. Danny Crawford, one of the NBA's most respected referees for 32 years. Billy Donovan, who coached the University of Florida to back-to-back NCAA championships and has won over 400 NBA games. Sylvia Fowles, the all-time leading rebounder for the WNBA, who led the Minnesota Lynx to 2 championships. Dwight Howard, a 3-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year and an 8-time NBA All-Star. And finally, Maya Moore, who led the University of Connecticut, the Minnesota Lynx, and Team USA to multiple championships. The Hall of Fame induction ceremony takes place on Saturday, September 6th. Travel to Springfield is not recommended that day. Starting in late June, I will be giving more in-depth biographies on all 9 members of the 2025 class. So be sure to stay tuned. WWHEN congratulates all the Hall of Famers on their success, and I look forward to discussing each and all of their stories. That ends this episode of Wehry History and Entertainment News in the Berkshires and beyond. If you would like to watch this or any other WWHEN episode again, you can visit PCTV's website shown here, or my YouTube page at RT Wehry. And I want to thank CTSB TV and NBCTC for showing my show on their public access station. Thank you.